Hey guys, manic.mercurian here, and today we're going to look at the compatibility of Libra with all of the 12 signs. And I think you guys liked my Leo compatibility video so much that I'm just going to pick up right where I left off and continue through this series. And if you're saying, hey, why did you skip Virgo? Don't you know Virgo comes after Leo? Yeah, so I actually am doing this series slightly out of order. I actually already did the Virgo compatibility video. So if you're interested in that or any of the other videos I've done as part of this series, I will link those above as well as in the description box below. But yeah, I think that's enough said. So let's get into Libra general compatibility. So this is actually pretty interesting, and it kind of depends here on what kind of compatibility we're talking about. I should mention too, before I get too into this, that you should really look up your sun, moon, and rising signs, and especially if it's a romantic connection, definitely look at your rising sign because that will matter a lot. You can also look at your Venus or Mars signs as well. But for Libra specifically, Libra is an easygoing sign. It's air, so it's more kind of intellectual. Libras love bouncing their ideas, bouncing their energy off of other people, and they're very go with the flow. So it's the reason why I said it's kind of interesting is because if we're talking about friends for Libra, Libra may gravitate toward other easygoing intellectual energies, but they may not. For friends, but especially for romantic connections, Libra really wants someone more outgoing, very strong-willed, someone who's more decisive, more fiery a lot of the time, or more fixed maybe. Someone kind of overtly strong-willed. And I think that's a good segue to start the series and begin with Aries. Okay, so first, Libra with Aries. This is actually really beautiful. These signs are exactly opposite one another, and opposite signs don't always work this beautifully. But with Libra and Aries, this really does work very well. The reason why is because Aries in this case would be the initiator, like Aries likes to be. Aries is the first sign, it's the initiator sign. And Libra is so, it's so naturally goes along with this. It's very receptive to that initiation. And like I said at the beginning, Libra, especially for romantic combinations, Libra really wants someone more outgoing, more decisive, someone who maybe thinks a little bit more black and white, because Libra is so easygoing, they can see all aspects of things. So, Libra doesn't even, it's not decisive in the way that people generally are, if that makes sense, because Libra can do this, it can do that, it's very adaptable. So when Aries comes along and it says, this is what I want, Aries is very outspoken, Aries is very forthright and decisive. Libra just loves this energy. We're mixing air with fire here. They go hand in hand. The air feeds the fire. So really, they'll kind of feed off of each other, and Libra is more than happy and willing to go along and even keep up with Aries energy. I especially love this combination for social events. Both Aries and Libra love interacting with other people, doing things, social kind of stuff. So in short, I feel like the Aries combination with all the signs is usually the shortest because it's usually pretty straightforward. Everything is kind of straightforward with Aries. And this is no exception. Libra and Aries work very beautifully together, especially for a romantic relationship, but for friends as well. These, opposites do definitely attract here. Excuse me. Okay, now we go to Taurus. So Taurus and Libra is also interesting. Now we are signs that are 5 away from each other, so they are quincunx. I always say quincunx is kind of an awkward word, and it's typically an awkward connection here because these signs have pretty much nothing in common. They're not exactly opposite, they're just one off from being opposite, so they actually have less in common than opposite signs. Taurus is fixed earth, Libra is cardinal air, Taurus is yin, Libra is yang, technically, although it has kind of a yin influence as well with the Venus rulership. Taurus is the middle of spring, Libra is the beginning of fall. They have pretty much nothing in common. One thing, though, that these signs do have in common that I just touched on a little bit is that they are both ruled by Venus. So both Taurus and Libra, although they are very, very different, they both do deal with aesthetics and pleasure. All these kind of Venus themes are shared with Taurus and Libra. So both of these signs will crave, things that are aesthetically pleasing or soothing, etc. Both of these signs kind of like nice things, for example. So there are some commonalities there. But again, if we go back to the differences, Taurus is so stable and consistent. You know, Libra may enjoy that Taurus is um, so straightforward or so, you know, decisive, like I was talking about earlier. But I think Libra is more looking for intellectual stimulation that it would typically find with like fire or air signs. I think Libra could get a little bit bored with Taurus because Taurus is so, you know, fixed and stuff. And Taurus is really great for a sign that's wanting stability or wanting, you know, that commitment, wanting someone reliable. And Libra can want those things, but like I said, I think it's more looking for something more complex to digest, something, you know, with, you know, like Libra can handle some nuance or some trickiness, some energy kind of, not to say that Taurus isn't energetic really, but I don't see there being a lot of attraction here. I see these signs being very different. You know, Libra may be kind of bored by Taurus, but Taurus would also be maybe turned off by Libra's fickleness because, again, Taurus is so decisive. It's very straightforward, very practical. And Libra can be practical in the sense that it is very intellectual and analytical, but Libra can also be impractical because it sees all sides of things. It doesn't really necessarily want to make up its mind. It can see all angles, and Taurus just isn't going to relate to that. With Taurus, you know, what you see is what you get. It's just not going to, these signs are just not going to really understand each other, and there's not that opposites attract theme or influence that would, you know, overcome those differences, I think. So, yes, these signs are both ruled by Venus, but do I think these are great for compatibility? Not really. I could see this being like maybe a business or friend connection, and I think that could work well because then they could connect over those shared desires revolving around like aesthetics and that Venus type of stuff. I could see that working. Like these could be like great acquaintances or something. But as for like deeper relationships, there would have to be something else going in these people's charts to to kind of overcome the differences I laid out. Okay, now we go to Gemini and Libra. These signs are 4 signs away, so that makes a trine. These are both air signs, so they're going to have a lot in common. Being both air signs, they're both detached, intellectual. They both like to keep things kind of light and breezy, if you will. Also mixing, you know, Gemini, which is mutable air, with Libra, that's cardinal air. These signs, you know, even more so than the other air sign Aquarius, these signs in particular can be very indecisive because they really see all angles, all aspects. Libra and Gemini are, you know, probably the masters of being the devil's advocate, and they can argue it this way or that way. They can see whatever way. So these signs just have so much in common. They're both going to appreciate each other's detachedness, sort of like, you know, these signs of course have emotions. Everybody has emotions, but there's not going to be anything like too sappy or too, you know, there's not going to be any like overwhelming displays of emotion or anything like that. So I think these signs will appreciate, you know, each other's relatively detached nature. These signs also both get bored easily, so they're both going to crave kind of the same amount of intellectual stimulation. They can both, you know, like I'm picturing them having really deep conversations or really complex conversations or conversations about maybe taboo or controversial topics, you know, things that are really kind of deep or complex, kind of meaty, intellectually speaking. So, in short, I really especially love this for like friendships because they just have so much in common. Relating is going to be really easily. They're not going to really need to compromise about anything. So this, generally speaking, so this is an easy combination. It's kind of a no-brainer. I think this definitely works well. Excuse me. Now we go to Cancer and Libra. This one's really interesting. I know I keep saying that, but it is interesting. So on the face of it, these signs are 3 away, so they square each other. They both have the same mode. They're both cardinal, but Cancer is water and Libra is air. And I think what's interesting is that Libra often presents itself as being or as seeming more sensitive than they actually are. I think, you know, especially these kind of bubbly, like early Libra, like late September Libras, some of them seem so kind of bubbly and charming that they almost come off across like a water sign almost. So on the surface, I'm picturing like if you don't know if Cancer and Libra are just meeting each other and they don't know each other well, they may think they have more in common than they actually do. Because Libra can kind of oddly come across as a water sign sometimes. But the truth of the matter is, Libra is not a water sign. In fact, I'd argue that it's the most detached sign of them all. Versus what a water sign would be very, sensitive, not detached at all. Especially Cancer, which is probably the most emotional sign, and I'd say Libra is probably the least emotional sign. So I've noticed that these signs are often attracted to each other. They both begin things kind of indirectly or subtly. They can both pick up on subtle social cues, and so I think they are attracted to one another. But when the relationship gets a little bit deeper, I think that's when things can get tricky because, again, Cancer is just so sensitive, it's so emotional, it's so in the moment. Libra is so detached, and so there's going to be a lot of misunderstanding there. They just have different approaches. But again, I just want to say it's very interesting. I've noticed a lot of couples with these signs. It's just kind of difficult. There would have to be mutual compromise, a lot of mutual understanding. Both sides would have to be very whole in themselves because at the end of the day, these signs are just so different. It's not going to be an easy connection. Next, we have Leo and Libra, signs that are 2 signs away, so they sextile. And again, remember what I always say, these signs are different enough to benefit or complement one another. They both bring something unique to the table that the other one doesn't, but they have enough in common that they can understand each other very readily. So with Leo and Libra, I actually really love this for, and it almost doesn't matter what, for a friendship, for a romantic connection. This is really beautiful because, again, with that sextile, the connection is easy, but they're also helping each other in different ways. This is going to be a little bit similar to Aries in the sense that, Leo is fixed fire. It's very outgoing, very strong-willed. This is exactly what Libra is kind of looking for. Libra loves this energy. We're mixing air and fire again. So air feeds the fire. Libra is receptive and warm and outgoing in terms of reciprocating that energy that it kind of feeds off of or bounces back from the Leo. I definitely see Leo as being the initiator, but Libra supports that. Libra is kind of nurturing that initiating energy or that fiery energy. So this is really beautiful. And again, kind of like Aries, I could see these combinations mixing Leo with Libra. I could really see these people going to a party and enjoying like some kind of social event because, again, both of these signs really like a party. They love interacting with others. Leo is definitely a party animal, and Libra is more refined, but again, it loves going along with this energy. It loves that kind of high degree of stimulation. So all in all, this is a really beautiful combination. Oh, one last thing. We're also mixing the Sun from Leo with Venus from Libra. So these energies are both benefic energies. These energies will be very upbeat together, very like positive. Very much focused on abundance and pleasure. So maybe the worst side of this would be that they could overindulge or they would be spending too much time just having fun, not taking things seriously. But all in all, I think this is a really great combination. Leo brings the spark and the charisma and energy to the mix, and then Libra brings some refinement and a little bit of detachedness. So they both complement each other very nicely. Next, we have Virgo and Libra. These signs are right side by side, so they have a similar kind of context, but they end up having very different personalities. So what I mean by that is with Virgo and Libra particularly, they actually do have some things in common. Like, just looking at them, it may seem that they're very different, and they definitely are. I'll talk about the differences in a moment. But the commonalities is that they are both intellectual signs. Virgo is an earth sign, but it's the only earth sign. It's actually the only non-air sign that is ruled by a person, Virgo, the Virgin, which is depicted as a human. So it's only the air signs and Virgo that are depicted as humans. So these are the 4 intellectual signs, the 3 air signs and Virgo. So Virgo and Libra are both intellectuals, so I think this could bring about some really interesting conversations, especially because both of these signs are open-minded enough to entertain a different point of view. So these signs are very different at the end of the day. Virgo is much more focused on the, on the physical reality. Virgo is very practical, very no nonsense, and Libra is much more able and willing to entertain kind of philosophical ideas, or ideas that may, at the surface of it, they may not look like they make sense. Excuse me. So, the approach is very different. Virgo being no nonsense, and Libra being one that can maybe entertain some degree of nonsense. Libra is just more curious and open, I think. But Virgo is mutable. Both of these signs, as intellectual as they are, they're open to hearing other points of view sometimes, I think. Not all Virgos are, but I think some definitely are. So I really see these people having, an intellectual connection. So maybe having those really rich conversations. And it especially depends on what's going on in the rest of the charts, of course. If you're mixing, let's say, an airy Virgo with an earthy Libra, this is going to work super well. It's going to be really easy. Or if you just have really intellectual signs, intellectual Virgo with intellectual Libra, that's going to work also well. I just think it will be a very mental connection. So I wouldn't necessarily picture this being like sparks flying, really romantic or sexual. This is going to be more mentally stimulated. So I see these signs more being maybe friends, having really rich, deep conversations, things of that nature. It's only going to be romantic if there's something else going on in the chart, or like I said, if you're just mixing two people that their whole charts are intellectual, that's all that they're about, that's all they want, then maybe it could be kind of more than just friends. But otherwise, these signs are very different. If I had to say yes or no to the compatibility between these, I'd probably say no. They're just very different as signs. But, that comes with the major caveat of these are intellectual. They could have a very intellectual kind of friendship or connection. Okay, now we're mixing Libra with its own sign, Libra and Libra. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I keep clearing my throat, but this is also really interesting, just like so many Libra connections are. To me, that it really depends on the nature of this connection. Are they going to be just friends, or is this going to be something more? Libra being friends with another Libra, I could definitely see happening. Obviously, they're going to have a lot in common. They're going to have the same approach. It may be a little bit slow to get things rolling because Libra usually goes with the flow. Libra goes with the flow of what the other person or whoever else is doing or initiating. And so mixing two Libras together, it's going to be like combining two negative magnets. They have a lot in common, but there's just no opposites attract. It's going to start moving very slowly. And that leads me to, if it's a more romantic connection, I really don't see this working. One of these Libras would have to have a bunch of fire in their chart, maybe. Then it could work really beautifully, or, something else going on. But in general, if it's a romantic connection, again, you're combining two negative magnets. They are very similar, but there's not much going on. Libra wants someone more decisive, like I said at the beginning of this video, more outgoing, maybe fiery. Libra loves the fire signs. Or even a fixed sign, at least, is very decisive. And so Libra can bounce, Libra can work with that and bounce the energy off of that. So in short, Libra with another Libra, friends, yes. Although it may be kind of slow, but yes, that would definitely work. But romantically, no, I really don't see it. I don't think Libra wants another Libra at all. I think that would just be too complicated, Libra's already has so many different sides to it and can see so much nuance. If you're mixing two Libras together, who will make the decision or who will initiate? They'll both like each Libra on its own already has more than enough stimuli and opinions and sides to things, variables that it considers to go off of. So mixing two Libras, it's just going to be too much. It's going to be an overload. Okay, I think I got it. Libra with Scorpio. Again, just like Virgo, these signs are side by side, and typically side by side signs are very different from one another, and this is, of course, no exception. Libra is air, Scorpio is water. Scorpio can be kind of fiery, and it is fixed, so it is, you know, very decisive and stuff. So it kind of checks off some boxes that I was saying Libra is looking for. But I think the main source of conflict here would be that Libra, again, I would say is the least emotional sign, even more so than Aquarius or Capricorn. Not a lot of people know that, but Libras are more detached than they come across as, I think. And so when you're mixing that with Scorpio, which is the most emotionally intense sign, I just don't think that's going to work. They're not going to relate to each other. They both are very deep signs, they both have many layers to things. But with Libra, we're talking about mental energy, mental layers. With Scorpio, it's emotional layers. So, you know, kind of looking back on a more abstract level, they may have a lot in common. But when it's in the flesh, you know, and you're mixing a Libra person with a Scorpio person, they're just not going to have a lot in common. I mean, they're both socially intelligent, but I don't think they're going to desire one another. I don't think they're going to have any kind of desire or motivation to overcome their differences. So I really just don't see this working. One thing on an abstract level, though, that I think is interesting is both of these signs are ruled by a planet which gives them the opposite polarity that they naturally are. I'll put that into more layman's terms here. So Libra is an air sign, so it's yang, it's masculine, but it's ruled by Venus, which is feminine. So Libra has kind of both influences. Scorpio is the same way but opposite. It's a water sign, so it's yin, it's feminine, but it's ruled by Mars, which is masculine, so it has both influences as well. So, I mean, on an abstract kind of astrological level, that can be maybe interesting, but combining them, I think it just means that they have, you know, they have both influences. Libra is prone to, you know, it can handle a lot of spontaneity and excitement, but it's also, you know, it's doing so with a refined, you know, laid back vibe. So that's the yang with the yin. Scorpio is kind of the same thing. It's, you know, maybe doing things that are of a feminine nature. It is internal, but it's also very external and focused on conflict, which is more yang oriented. So, I mean, again, that's kind of interesting on an astrological level, but in terms of compatibility, I guess it really doesn't help at all. So, honestly, I think Libra and Scorpio is maybe my least favorite compatibility so far, maybe of all the signs. I don't see it working at all, really. Now we mix Libra with Sagittarius, signs that are 2 signs away, just like Leo was. So this again is very beautiful. Sagittarius is fiery, it's more warm, so it will provide that kind of confidence and spontaneity that Libra loves and thrives with. Libra is very receptive to. You know, and again, I think these signs would be really great for going to a party. I guess Libra with any fire sign would be really great for that. You know, let's go out, let's do something, let's interact with other people and just have a good time. These signs would both love doing that. I don't love this compatibility as much as I do Aries or Leo, just because Sagittarius is a mutable sign. So on the one hand, Sagittarius is intellectual. It's the only intellectual fire sign, and Libra is very intellectual, so they'll have that in common. So I could definitely see these signs being friends. They will relate to each other a lot. But, you know, because Libra wants such a strong-willed personality, fire can definitely be, I mean, Sagittarius can definitely be strong-willed, but it's mutable, so it's more intellectual, it's more seeing things from all perspectives, all angles. It's more similar to Libra. I guess that's the only issue I have with it. Sagittarius is more similar to Libra than any of the other fire signs, I would say, with that kind of intellectual, multifaceted view of things. So this, to me, more puts Sagittarius in the area of like the friend zone, I guess you could call it. I'm putting Sagittarius in Libra's friend zone, not seeing as much romantic sparks. But, you know, on the other hand, I would see Sagittarius being still more potentially romantic material for Libra than, like, let's say an air sign or something, because there is still that fiery essence as well. So I guess Sagittarius is kind of in the middle. It could kind of go either way. If you have a very strong-willed Sagittarius with a bunch of fire in the chart, or maybe fixed signs, then that could be really compelling for Libra in a more sexual or romantic connotation. But if you have a really intellectual Sagittarius or a very airy Sagittarius, then these signs are going to be more friends. There's not going to be that opposites attract so much. Okay, now 3 signs away, we have Capricorn with Libra. These square each other again, kind of like Cancer. So, yes, they have similar approaches in terms that they are both leaders in one way or another, but they both lead in very different ways. Libra is cardinal air, Capricorn is cardinal earth. So, Libra is leading indirectly through other people, if that makes sense. It's leading not in what it directly does, but what it kind of pushes other people to do, so to speak. Capricorn is much more straightforward. Being an earth sign, it leads much more directly. It leads in a more pragmatic, no nonsense. This is what I'm doing. It's very straightforward. Here it is, type of way. So on the surface of it, it really doesn't look like these signs have a lot in common. It doesn't look like they would relate to each other much. Again, Capricorn is just so skeptical and no nonsense, very stoic, very pragmatic. And Libra can definitely be that way. I'll expand on that more in just a moment. But Libra also likes to, engage in some nonsense or take some shortcuts or, side roads or whatever. It likes to kind of meander and just explore the world, especially intellectually. Where Capricorn is much more decisive. We're going from A to B to C. These are the goals. We're not straying off the path, etc. So I could see Libra being bored by Capricorn. I could see Capricorn being maybe annoyed by Libra because Libra is just not as focused as Capricorn, I guess. But on the other hand, though, if you do dig a little bit deeper, both of these signs have a Saturnian connection. Saturn is in domicile in Capricorn and exalted in Libra. What that means is both Libra and Capricorn can be very detached, very objective, more objective than any of the other signs. They can be both, Libra can have that stoicism about it. I think Libra just can tend to hide that because it can be maybe intimidating to other people, and Libra doesn't want to be intimidating. Libra wants to be relatable, so it kind of hides that inner stoicism and objectivity, but it is there. Another thing is that Libra and Capricorn are both really excellent for business. Both Libra and Capricorn know that you have to show a professional side. They're both being really good at being professional and, showing the correct side of themselves for business or what have you. So I could definitely see these being really good like business partners or maybe good friends on some level. I don't really see like a romantic connection here so much, but maybe friends or acquaintances, something like that. They could connect over their shared interests, especially with like work. I see these being maybe kind of good coworker friends, maybe. But if I have to just simplify it and give it a yes or no, I'm gonna say no. These signs are very different. It's not gonna work out so much. Okay. We're almost done here. Libra and Aquarius, signs that are 4 signs away. They're both air signs. They have a lot in common. I think it's interesting though that yes, they are both air signs. They both are kind of intellectual, detached. I'd probably say these are the most detached signs. Libra and Aquarius are both ruled by objects, inanimate objects, although they can sometimes be shown holding, like being held by a person, but it means that these are the most objective signs, the most detached. They, of course, do have emotions, but they deal with them in a different way than the other signs do, or most of the other signs anyway. So they do have a lot in common. And despite being so detached and relatively emotionless, both Libra and Aquarius can have a romantic streak, which I think is kind of odd. You wouldn't expect that with such detached signs, but it can be there. So I guess just on a surface level, just to simplify things for a moment, combining 2 air signs, immediately I think this would be good friend material. They have so much in common. They relate so well. So definitely good friends. If they just want someone easy to talk to that is going to have a lot in common with one another, then great for friendships. Romantically, I kind of tend to shy away from dating another air sign for Libra, but I do like Aquarius more than Gemini or another Libra for Libra, because Aquarius is fixed air, so it is more strong-willed, it's more decisive, it more retains its shape. Aquarius is known to be stubborn and to say, this is what I want, that's it. Aquarius does see things kind of black and white. So this sort of decisive, strong-willed nature of Aquarius, I think, could potentially be romantic material for Libra, at least more than Gemini or Libra would. So there is that going for it. I guess I'm kind of splitting hairs here. If I have to say yes or no for Aquarius, yes, this would definitely work very well. For friendship, absolutely. For a romantic connection, maybe. Especially if you've got an Aquarius that has some fire in their chart. Libra is going to love that. If you have a fiery Aquarius, they're going to be really rebellious and provocative. And Libra tends to be more refined. It wants to fit in with other people, but it's simultaneously very engaged and it loves, a good rebel. Libra has a slightly rebellious side to it itself. So it's going to love going along with someone else that is more provocative, or, that can be more maybe overt with breaking the rules or what have you. Libra will love kind of just going along with that. So all in all, yeah, I think this is really beautiful. I think there is enough different to make things interesting, but mostly just a lot of things shared in common to make this really really easy, as well as interesting. Okay, and then lastly, we're mixing Libra with Pisces. Pisces is the last sign, and Pisces is 5 away from Libra. So this is quincunx. Yes, just like Taurus was. And I would say, unlike Taurus, there's no Venus connection here. However, that's not really true. Venus is in domicile in Libra, and it's exalted in Pisces. So there is actually a Venus connection here. So this means that both these signs kind of have to do with love, sort of. I was going to say aesthetics, but I think with Pisces, the reason why Venus isn't exalted in Pisces is because Pisces is the best sign for like universal love. Pisces is kind of in love with everyone, and Libra kind of is too. These signs can both just melt into other people. Both of these signs see things from many different perspectives. Pisces being mutable water. Pisces, really can just see itself in everything. It gets lost in everything. And Libra is kind of like that too. These signs both also are very potentially spiritual because they can both be very detached. They can both be very connected to other people, losing themselves and everyone else or everything else. But on the other hand, both these signs can be surprisingly detached at times as well. Pisces is one of the most emotional signs, but it can also be much more detached, I would say, than Cancer or Scorpio. So these signs do have some things in common. I think the biggest hurdle here will again be that, Pisces is a water sign. Although Libra and Pisces may come across similar if you don't know them well, Libra is very detached. Like I said, it's very objective, so I don't see these signs being attracted to one another because, Libra, like Pisces definitely isn't that strong-willed, fiery or decisive sign at all. It's more kind of nuanced and muddled. It's going here, it's going there. So it's not going to be something for Libra to really latch onto very well. I think the dynamic would be slow to develop. And then even once it does kind of develop more and gets deeper, then these signs would realize, they just have very different approaches. Libra is so cerebral and intellectual. Pisces is so caught up in the moment, caught up in the feeling, whatever it's feeling in the moment. So these signs just don't have a lot in common. There are some kind of loose astrological connections that I talked about, at the beginning of this little spiel, that I could see maybe working a little bit. Like both these signs can be kind of soft and they have similar approaches in terms of like meandering and seeing all angles to things. But all in all, if I have to say yes or no, I would say no. This could maybe work for like a friendship or an acquaintance, like maybe a more shallow relationship, so to speak. But as for a deeper, like, close friend or romantic connection, they're just too different and not in a, sexy, fun, opposites attract kind of way. It's more just I think it's an awkward connection. Okay, that was fun. We got through that. So that was my take on Libra's compatibility with all the 12 signs. If you liked that, let me know, like it or what have you, and I look forward to doing the rest of this series. And again, I'll link the rest of the series in the description and above as well. Have a great day.